Hi and welcome to DIY Ideas. Today I'm going to show you 3 different ways to make your pants a little bit longer. So first in a really cool destroyed look, then with a really pretty ruffled effect and with lace. So today I'm going to show you how you can do this and how you can very easily make your pants a little bit longer. So I have here an unstitcher and we're just going to unstitch the inside of our basically end of our pants. So I also have some tweezers here just to make it easier to pull everything out. That might help a little bit, but apart from that, we just want to unstitch this. So first we're going to take the unstitcher and we're going to start on the outside anywhere you like and just unstitch. So now that we've done this, you have 2 options. You can just fold it inwards once. So before it was actually folded inwards 3 times. So you can just do it once and that way have a couple of centimeters or inches more in length like this. So this is what it would look like. I think the effect is actually pretty nice. Or you can just leave it as it is and pretty much have it like that. So that's what I call it the destroyed look. It's a little bit frayed, looks pretty cool. So it really depends on what you like and what you find aesthetically better. But those are the 2 options. So yeah, with the help of my tweezers, I just made it a little bit more frayed to the way I like it. And yeah, this was a really easy destroyed way to make, or destroyed look to make your pants be a little bit longer. So you can see what that looks like. The edge here is really nice. It's a little bit darker than the rest of the pants, but I actually really like the way it looks. So let's move on to the next idea. So now we're going to use some leftover fabric that I have here and some lace for 2 different kinds of making your pants longer. So let's get to it. So here we have just regular stuff, fabric scissors, some pins, something to measure with. I have here some thread that matches the color of the thread on the jeans. And then I have some blue thread here to match the blue fabric that I want to do the ruffles with. Here I have some elastic thread that I'm going to use to make the ruffles look really, really good. So as far as the fabric goes, you can use anything you'd like. Something that's a little bit silky or just looks really cute is perfect. So don't worry about the fabric too much. Whatever you use that is relatively light and thin will work just fine. So yeah. Afterwards, we're going to do some lace as well. So this is going to be a little bit shorter, but it's still going to look really good. So yeah, we of course need our pants as well. So let's get right to it. Okay, so now with my lace border, I want to do kind of the ending a little bit differently and make it a little bit longer. So what we're going to do here is basically go around with our lace so that we have a really nice border at the end. And yeah, now we just need enough in length so that you have enough to cover the entire circle, so to speak. And yeah, just make sure you have enough. Apart from that, you can do any style and look that you like. So now what we want to do is basically just pin everything in place. And then we can stitch this up so that it stays together. And then this way you see on the outside, you're going to have a couple, a centimeter or 2, so a little bit under an inch. So you can match it with the already existing stitch here so that you can't see it from the outside, or you can do an extra stitch if you don't care. So it's completely up to you if you want a double stitch or if you want to hide it in the existing stitch. Of course, the lace can be a little bit longer, so that way you're going to have an increase in length. That depends on the type of border that you found and want to use. So I'm going to pin this now all around, and then I'm basically just going to do a stitch to connect everything, and I'm going to cut the leftover or the excess fabric off. If you'd like, you can also kind of fold these two inwards and then do a stitch there to connect them. That way it's really going to look good on the outside and you're not going to be able to see where it starts and where it stops. And now the last style that I want to show you with the ruffles. Here is my fabric that I have. You can see it's pretty light. And now what we want to do is just have a straight line here on top and then have it kind of ruffle around the edge of my pants. So first of all, you're going to need a lot more fabric than the actual length of the circle that we're going around, since it's going to be ruffled, so it's going to be a lot less in the end, although it looks like not much fabric, it is more. So what we want to do is just have enough in length so that we don't have any missing. So if you have here 30 centimeters, you need at least 60 centimeters as far as the fabric goes so that it can ruffle nicely. Okay, so now I have two pieces that look exactly the same. So here we have one's 60 centimeters in length and 15 centimeters in width times 2. So that's what we're going to need for the one leg and then for the other. So another thing to think about is the ending here where we need our stitch. So here on top it's going to ruffle like this and it's going to look really cute, but on the other end we really need a nice seam there so that it looks neat and doesn't fray later. So we're going to fold this inwards twice and then we're going to do a regular straight stitch across here, so just straight, nothing special, and then I'll be back when I do that. So this is what it should look like, and you just need this on the one end, and then on the other we're going to do the ruffles. So just make sure that everything is nice and straight as far as this edge goes, and then we can move on to the top section. So in my case, I also shortened this a little bit so it doesn't have the original width that you saw a moment ago, since I need a specific length for my jeans, so I didn't need as much fabric, but this depends on how much longer you want to make it. So yeah, just check before you get started and then we can get started. So here we're going to fold it inwards twice, so we're going to lose a little bit of the width here. And then what we want to do is a stitch there as well. And I definitely recommend doing the fold 2 times because it's going to be a lot easier later to do. So yeah, we're going to get to that now, and then I'm going to show you how you can ruffle these. So I have the matching thread in the color of my fabric. So we're doing a straight stitch with the maximum length that your machine can do, but a regular straight stitch, so nothing special there. Just make sure that the length is the maximum that it can go. And then we're going to ruffle it with the elastic thread, so you're going to see what that looks like in the step afterward. So there are going to be 2 steps here, first with the blue thread and then with the elastic thread, and that way you can decide how ruffled you want this to be or how little ruffled. So we're going to do a regular straight stitch with the blue first, and then we're going to do the elastic thing later. So just do a regular straight stitch from the one end to the other, and then make sure to leave a little bit of the thread on both sides hanging. So you don't want to cut it short there, because when we pull the thread itself, then it's going to be able to kind of ruffle itself on its own. So it's going to be super easy to do. And yeah, I'm going to show you the simplest version, so you could use the elastic thread too, just to do an extra stitch, or you can use just the elastic thread if you think that's enough. I'm going to show you the simplest version without the elastic thread. So yeah, all in all, it's the same method, just make sure you leave a little bit of the thread on both ends so that you can pull on it later. So yeah, both are the same, depends on what you want to work with, but try both out and then see which one you like better. So both go. The one is elastic, the one is a regular one. But anyway, let's get started. I'll show you what I did. So now that I finished my stitch, you see here on the one end I have a little bit longer thread. So when I pull on it, I can ruffle it more or less depending on what kind of style I want. So that's what I'm gonna do, and if I pull more on it, it's gonna be more ruffled, and the other way around. So if you'd like this to be a little bit more voluminous, it can be, but in that case, you just wouldn't do the seam on the bottom. So instead of that, you can do pretty much the same effect on the bottom. It's going to look a little bit puffier, but it's going to have more volume. So it really depends on what you want to have it look like. So yeah, you would just do the ruffles on both sides basically, and then it would kind of puff up. So that would be a different style with just one extra step or one different step instead of the seaming. So now that you're satisfied with your ruffles, make sure that you have enough in length on the shorter side or on the top side. So here I'm just gonna roughly measure to see if I have enough. And I had 30 centimeters on my pants, and I have here a little bit over that, so that's gonna work perfectly. And now we can put it together and then we can sew it onto our pants. So these threads that are hanging out, I'm going to tie into knots to keep them in place, and that way we can move on to our final step. So the last step is to connect this to the pants, so stitch it up, and we're just going to make sure that we're doing pretty side on pretty side again, so that we have the right side facing outwards later when we turn it inside out. So here again, the same thing, you can follow the existing stitch that you have here, or you can do an extra stitch on the bottom if you'd like that more. Both are okay, just depends on what kind of style you would like to have. And then in the end, we're again going to do a stitch on the inside here so that you can't really tell where it starts and where it stops. Yeah, so that's pretty much all that we have to do now. So just go around, make sure to pin everything nicely, and then we're gonna do a stitch on top just to make sure that it stays connected. You can even do 2 rounds if you think it's gonna rip. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. So I'm gonna pin carefully because it is a little bit thicker on the bottom here, and with the ruffles that's also a little bit thicker. So yeah, just make sure you're careful and make sure you have enough length, and then from there on we can actually get to the actual stitching and have our longer legs done. So here you can see what it looks like on the inside, so you can see the stitch there, but on the outside I did it exactly where the existing stitch is, so you can't really tell it's there. And then of course you can do longer ruffles or shorter ruffles depending on how much length you need, but this is the last way to prolong or make your legs longer. So you guys, I hope you enjoyed my 3 styles. Let me know which one you like the best, or if you have a 4th one, how you do your pants longer. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time in my next video. Bye!